and thank you so much for joining me for this Friday Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chapter. You know what I like to do on the show? I want to enlighten you. I want to inspire you. I want to empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And today, I want you to be fired up about our new guest. Her name is Marjorie Luczak, and we're talking about her book, The Glass Spider. I know, such an intriguing title. Well, you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started. Good morning, Marjorie. Thank you so much for being on with me today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be on your show.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. Now, we're definitely going to talk about your book, but there may be some people out there that are unfamiliar with you or unfamiliar with your work. So the question I always ask on the show is, what makes you you? So what makes Marjorie Marjorie?
Well, it's a total picture from my pre-high school days to the present. I've lived many wonderful experiences, and these experiences that I have has made me the person that I am. And that has to do with the fact that I left home at age 16 after graduating from high school, going to the United States and attending a university in Houston, Texas, and then at Florida Institute of Technology for my master's program. So I also served in the military, and I married someone in the military, and that experience also comprises a good part of my memories and experiences.
Well, thank you so much for your military service. We definitely salute you for that. Thank you so much for that. Now, being an author, is that something that you always wanted to do? Or did you find that you just had something on your heart that you wanted to share with the world?
Let's see. Well, I have always wanted to write stories, but I really never attempted to. But what brought me closer to writing is keeping journals. I have like 6 or 7 journals that I've written during my experiences and my marriages. I have married more than once. And these experiences are what I cataloged in my journals. So actually writing and becoming an author was not something specific that I wanted to do. I turned to writing when I experienced great stress or just different types of experiences that are painful to me are what motivated me to write in my journals. And from these journals, then I went to writing The Glass Spider.
And thank you for that beautiful segue. So your book, The Glass Spider, how did you come about such an interesting title?
Well, it's based on my favorite singer, David Bowie. He wrote a song and sang this song to his lyrics, and he named the song The Glass Spider. So, because of him, David Bowie, my favorite singer, and just reading the lyrics of the song, that's how I came to name my book The Glass Spider. And with a spider, the many legs, led me to many different experiences and so forth.
I love that. And I've often told people that music has a way of inspiring us. Music is like an international language. It doesn't matter if you understand the words that the person is saying. Many times you can still understand the meaning of what they're trying to say by the way that they put the song together. So I can see how David Bowie has been an inspiration. He's such a magnificent artist. So I can definitely understand that. He really does pull you in and take you along on the journey. Now, for those who may be unfamiliar, that is the husband of the model Iman. So awesome power couple there. So just in case you weren't familiar with who David Bowie was. Now let me ask you about the challenges that you may have had as an author. Every author says that they have something that really, either slows them down or pulls them forward to keep going. Did you have any challenges in the entire process of your book? Writing, choosing a cover, or getting the book published? What were some of your ups and downs in the process?
Well, I didn't. What is my disappointment is, after writing the book, I did not edit the book. I just put it aside, and apparently Ex Libris obtained the book and printed a hard copy, and mailed the hard copy to me. So I never got to edit the book, and that's one of my regrets. So audiences reading the book will wonder why there are missing apostrophes or missing grammatical errors and not quite complete this type of editing. It's that. The book is a very intense writing for me. It was on very good and bad experiences, with the bad experiences surfacing, and the good is my objectivity in recognizing that they were interesting experiences, but I could overcome the stress that required me to settle down and write about them. It's like getting it off my chest and accepting the fact that we can overcome obstacles. And my life is an example of how I overcame the obstacles in my life, and look forward to the rest of my life, so to speak. I wrote the book when I was in my late 60s, and now I'm 72 years old, and I recognize that it's time to let go and to enjoy the rest of my life, and that is what I'm trying to do now. My children, or 5 children, are all adults now, and I have 10 grandchildren. And I am close to quite a few of them because we live in the same city, in the Northwest Panhandle of Florida. So that's been a great, wonderful experience for me to see my grandsons and granddaughters often, because we live near each other.
So, that is such a blessing, and I don't think that people realize how important it is and how wonderful it is to have your family around you. I'm originally from the East Coast. I live on the West Coast, and not having that immediate access to family sometimes is, it's a hard thing. You wanna celebrate. I have to call my mother, or I have to call my parents. I can't just go over because they're 3,000 miles away.
Yes.
So you're right. Having that family close to you is definitely important. I love that. Now, while you were writing the book, did you have any moments while you were writing that you noticed really brought back a happy memory for you, or it made you think of a happy time, and you really loved writing that portion of the book?
Yes, yes. In writing the book, I found that there were happy times in my life, and realizing this made it easier to write the book. Sometimes I found the book distressing, and that was when I was thinking of those times that cause intense stress. However, after I wrote that about that period of my life, I found it has helped me to be happy, to really recognize that I have overcome the obstacles and I can carry on to enjoy the rest of my life. I'm 72 now, and we are I long life. My father lived until he was 96 years old. My mother is now 88 years old, and so my hope is that we'll have a long life as both my parents. And I have not asked my family to read the book, so not many are aware that I wrote the book. And I don't know why I haven't shared this with my family. I think once the process is completed, like the editing of the book and printing of the book, once the process is completed, I will be able to tell them I have written a book. Most of it is like a memoir. A lot of it is research, and some of it is just a narrative, such as the examples that I used in the book. That the protagonist experienced.
I love it. Well, Marjorie, it is time for us to take a quick break, but so hold on. I want to definitely talk to you a little bit more about the the details of the book, but we need to take a very short break. Everyone, I am talking with Marjorie Luczak about her book, The Glass Spider, and of course, it's available on Amazon and where books are sold. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. My guest today is Marjorie Luczak, and we're talking about her book, The Glass Spider. And I really like the title of that book. Now, Miss Marjorie, for so many people, they will say that their book is unique and special. And we hear that the same way that we hear, a mother will say, my child is the most beautiful child in the world, because we're proud of what we do. So my question to you is, what makes your book special or unique or different than some of the other books that are available?
Well, I thought about that and decided what made my book special or somewhat different from other memoirs has to do with the intense research I did at the beginning of the book. And specifically, for instance, since I'm Asian American, I wanted to find out where the first Asian where they came from. And I found that there were nomads in outer Mongolia, and I did research on to try and find out what trail the Chinese took on their way to the New World. And then I focused a lot on my military history, because I find that my experience with the military has been a wonderful experience. At first, I did not think so, but as I get older, I rethink my experiences and realize it's been the best experience in my life, because it has exposed me to different experiences, as an older female in the military, and the people that I met in my experience in the military. So so in that way, I think my book might be different. There's also some abuse that I experienced in my life, and the book, I describe that in the book, and also how I overcame this to recognizing the fact that I have overcome my obstacles. So it's like a self-discovery and choice. There's a choice to not be what I could be, a victim, to one that actually can impose and change behavior. So it's a book about behavioral changes and overcoming the obstacles in one's life. To not be a victim.
Right. And I think that's so important for we as women, that history has a way of writing our stories for us or portraying us, and that we have to take our voice and lift our voice and make sure that people understand that our story is our story and not have it be told by someone other than us. So I like that. I like that you wanted to share that. Yes, ma'am. I like that. Now, with everything that's going on in the world, be it that you are here in the States or you're one of our global partners, one of our friends or family that's anywhere around the globe, we're all going through an interesting and trying time dealing with COVID-19. With that being said, we want to encourage our young generation, our millennials, our generation Zers, to not get lost in everything that's going on. Do you have any advice for our younger generation to inspire them to keep moving forward?
Yes, I think they should always look forward to each experience and not be cowed by fear about experiencing the event that is before us. It's just to love life and to believe that in have faith in the goodness of people and not look for the worst in people. And then in doing that, hopefully they will love life, come to love life as it happens to them. Live in the moment and enjoy the moment, is what I would counsel my grandchildren, to love each other. Yeah. And to love others as much. So, and that is what I would offer. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is great. That is great advice. Absolutely great advice. I remember as a young person, especially as a little kid, we used to remind the little ones, if you will, that of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And we don't say that anymore. It's more of a very sometimes an ego driven motivation. It's all about, me, I, as opposed to looking at how we're all interconnected and how, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ. And if we love on each other, how much further we would be able to grow and go. So I agree with you. I agree with you there. Now, for so many of our listeners, they are aspiring authors. With that being said, do you have any advice that you would give to someone who is thinking about writing a book, even if, they just want to share their story and how they were able to go from stuck to unstuck? What would you advise them? What advice would you give to them?
Well, to put their pen to paper and just start writing. Doesn't matter what comes out. If there's that feeling there, that thought there, write it down. Because your book might be formed from these thoughts that you put down on paper. I would advise just that, just to write and write and write. Doesn't matter what you're writing about, just give it your best. Your heartfelt emotions as you write, and then when you do that, suddenly a picture unfolds, and this picture becomes the book that you want to write. When I wrote my book, it was not for the global attention. I wrote it for my one grandson specifically, Isaiah is his name. And I looked at him, when he was born, he had blonde hair and blue eyes. And I thought to myself, he will not recognize the Asian that he is descended from. And I thought to myself, I need to leave a picture of who the Asians are in his life, what he can learn from the Asian experience, which is like traveling as a nomad from outer Mongolia all the way south towards Hong Kong and then branching out to the New World, United States and the islands in the Caribbean. So I wanted him to see that and to know what it is that he descended from. And so that's the purpose of my book. And it was meant for him only. But suddenly, I found people interested in the book who contacted me about the book to find out when it will be available, etc. And of course, I couldn't really answer confidently because my mind was still focused on the book was directed to one child in my life. And for the others that are reading it and are interested in it, I'm adjusting to that thought now that there are people who might want to read it. And then I feel a little bit self-conscious because the way I wrote as if I would be writing to a child. So I feel a little bit self-conscious about that. I'm not really, I haven't reread the book upon writing it the first time. So, it's a long book, and there's some chapters that I may have wanted to delete, but now that it's where it's at, publishing, that's no longer available to me to delete some chapters. Yeah, so I guess that's how I came to write the book.
So, I can definitely understand the premise or how, at least my understanding of the concept of what you would want to do. I think that is a beautiful thing. If my grandmother had written a book, and if I'm understanding what you're saying, like if it were put together in a way that it seems like they were letter entries to the next generation, like, dear granddaughter, let me tell you of this beautiful history that you come from. And like each chapter, so to speak, was like a letter to this next generation. I think that is a beautiful thing. As someone who is multicultural, I definitely understand that. I am of African American, white and Filipino heritage. So it's like, what a beautiful thing to share and to say, this is who you are, and walk proudly in who you are and what you do, and know that every bit of each one of those heritages makes you exactly who you are today. So be proud of that, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So thank you for writing such a book and for inspiring the next generation to be proud of who they are. I love it. Well, Marjorie, Luczak, thank you so much for coming on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela today and sharing with our listeners and inspiring them and empowering them to walk tall in who they are. If you can, please, can you remind everyone, where can they get a copy of your book, The Glass Spider?
Well, I was told that they can get a copy through Amazon.com, Barnes and Noble, and Facebook, and other podcasts. The only error that I find in the printing of the book is that it lists the book as $29.99, but actually I would like to fix the price at $15.99 so that it will be available to more people.
Of course, not a problem. So, listeners, whenever you get your hands on a copy of the book, then know that she has shared the best possible price with you at that time. I love it. Marjorie, Luczak, thank you again for being on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Chester.
Thank you. And listeners, thank you so much for spending some time with us as well. As always, we hope that we have enlightened, inspired, and empowered you. May you continue to remember that God's grace and mercy is with you. And most of all, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. You know what I like to do on the show. I want to enlighten you. I want to inspire you. I want to empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And today we want you to be fired up about the book, Faithfully Yours. We will be talking to the son of the author, and he is sharing his father's book, and I think that is such a beautiful thing. We've had so many parent-child couples come on and share great works that have gone on, and you know what? We are now adding them to that club. So go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started. Good morning, Anoop. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Now, I am really excited to talk to you about your father's book, Faithfully Yours. But before we do that, there may be some listeners out there that are unfamiliar with you or your father or with this work at all. So my first question that I always ask of my guests is, what makes you you? Now, I understand that you're, again, promoting this brand of your father's. So tell us a little bit about Anoop and Ravi Das.
Yeah, my dad was a wonderful person, and he didn't want to be an author, but in the last few years of his life, he was inspired by the various dreams he used to get. And he just put pen to paper, and it was through emotional turmoil. Our family went through a lot of hardships and stuff. So he's trying to get meaning, and he used to get these dreams, and like he's conversing to God, etc. And he used to talk to me about them and stuff. He just about that put pen to paper. He passed away at the age of 69. Had a cardiac arrest in 2015, and I'm just by that time he had published his book twice, but I'm just republishing his book. So I want the world to know about his idea, about him, and yeah, I mean, what can I say about myself? I'm an accountant by profession, and I work in the National Health Service here in the UK, and just want my dad to be heard, his story to be told, and heard in the world.
Now, I always ask about being an author. We sometimes stumble upon certain things along the journey called our lifetime. With that being said, did either you or your father ever have aspirations as a young person to become an author, or did you find that later along the way it simply developed?
It's really interesting you asked me that question, because I think with my dad, it's later on the way, and actually, to be very honest, maybe in the bloodline, my grandfather was a poet himself, Urdu poet. So he wrote a lot of poetry, but it was never published. I put all his work. Anyway, Dad, it's just later on in life, as I mentioned earlier, our family went through a lot of hardships and stuff. He's trying to make the meaning of life, and he just literally just pen to paper he put down. And now, to be very honest, the reason I said it's very funny you asked me that is because I am at the stage of maybe writing my own book. It's come on my mind. I just really need to start writing my own book in a way. So I don't think he wanted to be an author. Just later in his life, he just got down to writing. At first it was just diary writing, and then he just thoughts, and then he just turned into a story. I know when he passed away, he was writing a second book. He had an idea for writing a second book, but it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Now, the title of the book, Faithfully Yours, do you know how that title came into being?
Well, a bit. Actually, because he originally wanted to name his book Conversation with God. But then he changed it to Faithfully Yours. No, I don't know exactly how that changed, but it should have been Conversation with God, I think. But, I think it is dialogue with God, and I think it means that Faithfully Yours means faithfully yours. We are there for God. Faithfully yours. That's what it comes from.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I can understand that, and I kind of I get that the context there. Faithfully, as in your faith. Faithfully yours. I totally understand that. I love that. And even if I think someone didn't understand whether or not it was talking about faith or talking to a person, I think the sentiment is understood, that there's a dedication, there's a loyalty, there's a sense of honor that you're placing upon the person in which you're speaking. So, faithfully yours. I love that title. Now, what made you decide to republish your father's book? Was there a particular prompting? Was there a particular something that motivated you and really pushed you and said, yes, this is something I need to start working on?
I wanted my dad's voice to be heard, my dad's story to be known, and his sales to go up. I think it needed a new marketing campaign. I think I needed new branding, new cover, a bit new, different type of font, etc. And then also when he passed away, that was back then 2015, and before 2013, he published his book. And now he's passed away, so it's my dedication to him. And I wanted the world to his story. So I just want his story to be known. It's a brilliant story. It's a brilliant. I just want my dad's voice to be heard, and I will maybe later on. I'll need to find out how to get my grandfather's poetry published. I've got all his works. And maybe eventually me, it's my time for me as well. Maybe.
Yeah. Now, we understand that we ask every author to share a little bit about what the book is about, and we do understand that you're not going to tell it all. Like, you're not going to tell the ending or anything like that. People have to purchase the book to get the all of the book. But can you explain to us a little bit about the theme or what goes on in the book, the main character, if you will?
Okay. The book is about conversation with God. It's really interesting the way it happens. Imagine, I won't say much, but imagine if God comes down to earth and he's sitting in a TV studio and being broadcast all over the world, and all the world people want to ask questions and answer them, get them answered. That's what the gist of the story is.
Now, for so many people wanting to do perhaps the same thing that you have done, in that there's a work of art, there are collected letters or writings that a loved one has put out there, and they too feel that should be shared with the world. Do you have any advice for the person who too is trying to share the writings or the wisdom of a loved one that they've lost?
The only advice is that just do it. A lot of people just think about doing it. Other people just, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. A lot of people would procrastinate. Life is busy. People get on with things and they prioritize other things. They just get on and do it. If you really want your loved ones who are passed away, or maybe not passed away, maybe they're old, they're invalid, they can't do it themselves, just get it done and you'll feel so much peace. And yes, you'll feel so much gratitude and so much peace you'll feel. Just get it done.
So, Anoop, it is time for us to go to break. But before we do, if you could please, can you remind everyone of the title of your father's book? Where can we get a copy? And how do we stay in contact with you?
The book's name is Faithfully Yours. It's available on Amazon, on my website, anoopdas.com.
Alrighty, everyone. Now you know where you can get a copy of the book. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. My guest today is Anoop Das, and we've been talking to him about his father's book, Faithfully Yours, by Radhi Das. And I know that I am a big proponent of family. You guys have heard me talk about that so many times. I think it is a beautiful thing that he is promoting his father's book and wants his father's legacy to continue to live on. Such a beautiful sentiment there. I love it. Now, on the next few questions I have for you, I want to kind of shift gears just a little bit, because you yourself are not necessarily an author, but you're doing some other things. You are still in the world of entertainment, if you will, to a certain degree. So my next question for you is about your acting. You have stepped out into that form of entertainment. Tell me about the acting you've done.
Actually, I'm an aspiring actor. I'm upcoming aspiring actor. I have tied up with Studio Pow in the UK, and they're making a movie on Brian Epstein, the guy who introduced the Beatles here. Because due to Corona, the shooting hasn't started. It should be released by December, but they're starting shooting in March. So I'll be acting in some capacity in that movie. And I've got links with that studio. I've been told that I will be getting a movie every year for the next 4 years. So, yeah, that's where I'm starting. I'm aspiring. I did act in a few schools when I was young in school and university when I was young in India. But, yeah.
Now, for so many people, one of the ways that they get into acting is through modeling. Is that something that you pursued as well, modeling?
Oh, well, yeah, I've got my modeling portfolio out. Again, aspiring actor and model, I would say. I have got my modeling portfolio. I actually had the option for modeling on the 27th of October, but they didn't go through due to COVID here in the UK. Aviva, one of the insurance companies, was shortlisted among 60 people. They shortlisted 10, and I was one of them, but it didn't go through. So, yeah, I mean, I'm getting my modeling portfolio out, and I'm hunting, but no luck so far. But I'm not disheartened, and I'm full of life, and things will happen.
So what made you decide that going into the entertainment field, be it that it's modeling or acting, what prompted you to take that additional path along your way?
That's a very interesting question. Confidence. I always wanted to be an actor and a model, but I wasn't confident. Growing up, I was a big guy. I'm still a big guy. But I've lost a lot of weight in there. I was 24 stone, now I'm 19 stone. I used to be 58-inch waist, now I'm 42-inch waist, and getting down to 40 soon and stuff. So I've lost a lot of weight in the thing, and I started feeling good about myself. And a very good friend of mine encouraged me to have a modeling portfolio done. And so I did my picture along with my friend, and I was selected. And at the best time when I went to the studio, I was just so confident. And my modeling portfolio went out, and then one thing led to the other. I went to the BAFTAs, and this Brian Epstein movie, and then the movie thing came out. So I always wanted. I'm a people's person. By profession, I'm an accountant actually, but I've been doing that for years. I just comfortable in it. It doesn't fulfill me. I want to be out there with people. I'm a people's person. And at last want to earn money when what I enjoy doing. Not for the sake of doing it and getting money. It's earning a livelihood, if you know what I mean.
Now, for someone who may be, trying to decide if that's something that they want to do, because we never know how we're able to impact another person, how we're able to inspire them or motivate them to step out. And I like how you said, you're a confident person, you're a people's person, and for so many people, they would say, oh, well, he's a big guy. What right does he have to be confident? But yet, as a big guy, you are confident, and I love that. There's a size for everyone in the world. So what advice would you have for someone, be it that they're a big guy or a lean guy, that they're a guy or a gal? What would you say to them when it comes to stepping out in the modeling aspect of it all?
Well, I'll just say one thing. Everybody's unique. Don't compare yourself with anybody. You are you. There will be no other Dr. Angela Chester. There will be no other Anoop Das. There will be no other Ravi Das. We are born unique. And the problem happens when we start comparing each other. That's what I was doing for a long while, comparing myself with others. Modeling, acting. There are all sorts of models out there. The big models, big size models. That's what I'm trying for. But soon I'll be I'm losing weight as well, so soon I'll be a fitter model. Yeah. Everybody's got their own talents. Everybody, just stop comparing yourself with your friends and your colleagues and stuff. You have got a unique quality in you. Just recognize it and go with it. That's the only advice I'll give.
I love that. Each one of us is unique, and thank you for putting that out in the atmosphere, because I think that people need to be reminded of that. We all have something that makes us amazing, something that makes us awesome human beings, and when we find that light really shines, and I think that is a beautiful thing. So thank you so much for reminding us of that. Now, one of the things that many people are able to do is, especially folks that are confident, people that are able to share and inspire with others, they become a mentor or even a life coach. Is that something that that you have found that you have been able to do, even though we're all dealing with COVID-19 right now? Is that something that you found that you've been able to continue to do?
Healer, mentor, life coach. Actually, I am, over the COVID-19, we're having a lot of Zoom calls and Zoom thing. I've been part of a vortex of people who help each other, heal each other through meditation and stuff, and I've been training myself. So at the moment I'm training people, we're just doing healing on each other. Soon I'll be, in the next few weeks, I'll be doing my healing sessions on Zoom on people. Just healing, mentor and coach, life coach. Oh, I can't explain this, but I've got a good quality of people. Since childhood, I've had this quality of just connecting with people of any age, any ethnicity, any color, any race, just instantly. I managed to get to the wavelength of the person, where I can become a 5-year-old with a 5-year-old, and at the same time I can talk to a pastor at church about God. And I just see like this, it just comes out. I don't know, so I have got a lot of friends who come to me for advice with their problems, lady friends and gents who are heartbroken and stuff, and I act like an agony uncle, or whatever you call it. You must have heard about agony uncle. And I'm just there, and I'm there to be there with them, and I'm there with them, and yeah. So that's why a lot of people told me you should become a life coach, mentor. And when I say mentor and life coach, I also mean a journey of losing weight. And yeah, and when I become a model and actor, that will happen. Not when it happens, not if, when it happens. Obviously, I'll be an inspiration. I want to be an inspiration to other men. So, by sharing my story, I hope I'll be able to become a life coach or a mentor. And my life would count in helping other people. So, yeah. That's what.
Absolutely. I think that's why most people do the thing that they do, whatever it is that they do, that they hope that what they're doing will make a difference in someone else's life, and that they will be all the better for having passed that way. I love it. I love it. Now, for someone who is trying to find their way, and I'm so glad that you said healer, mentor, life coach. For our young people out there, they may be feeling a little down on themselves. They may be feeling a little uncertain about the future, or just a little weary with all that is going on. Do you have any words of encouragement to help our younger generation to be able to feel as though they still have a way, that they still have a purpose, that they still matter in society?
Talking about COVID-19, it may be locked down. Life may be a bit strange, but you're with family. Children, youngsters spend more time with their family, get more grounded. It's a good time to interact with your friends, even in Zoom. Be with your family. And if required, you guys can go out and help the vulnerable, help the aged people who can't go out, bring them food. And it's just a different way of thinking. Or you could just sit at home and play your video game. It's on you. That's what I would say. And also, you got all the time to study. If you want to do something, do a course, online course. And contribute to society. If you feel you're not being contributed, you can't do that. As I said, go in charity work. Feed people, food banks, contribute to food banks. Or even cook food and stuff and take them to elder people to help neighbors and stuff. If you're allowed to in your country with wearing masks and all the restrictions you have.
That is such a wonderful idea. And I'm so glad that you put that reminder out there. I saw on the news that there were some young people in various countries doing the exact thing that you're mentioning. They were helping those seniors out there that they are so vulnerable. And to be able to help them get the groceries, to get to market, and to be able to have those fresh fruits and vegetables and that food that they need, where they're risking so much if they leave their own homes in order to do that. I just thought that was such a beautiful thing, such a loving, kind, humanitarian thing to do. And I was just so proud of those kids. I didn't know them in any way, of course, but I was just so proud of them that that's what was down inside of them. So you have definitely reminded us to be a great, great human being. Well, Anoop, thank you so much for not only coming on and sharing your book that your father, Ravi Das, has written and shared, and you've shared that with us, but for inspiring us to just be the best people that we can be and to walk in our purpose and to step out and be all that we can be. I've enjoyed my time with you today. Thank you so much for being on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela.
Thank you.
Now, I want to ask you one more time, please, if you could, can you remind everyone what is the title of your father's book? Where can we get a copy? And how do we stay in contact with you, considering, again, you do a healer, mentor, a life coach? How do we stay in contact with you as well?
Yes, it's available at Amazon.co.uk or Amazon.com in America. The name is Faithfully Yours. The book's name is Faithfully Yours. And the website address is anoopdas.com. I believe it's under construction right now. It should be out soon. It's anoopdas.com. And there's a link there to contact me, and you can contact me via that. Or there's another website called anoopdas.co.uk. That one's active. But that's just got my modeling portfolio on at the moment. But you can still contact me.
Thank you again, Anoop, for being on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. And listeners, thank you for spending time with us as well. We hope that we have enlightened, inspired, and empowered you to become your best self. As always, may the Lord continue to shine His face upon you. May you receive His grace and His mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember, you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone.